All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Over on Rumble, of course. Unpause and repause, just to make sure that we don't have to see ourselves in triplicate. That would be bad. It's no fun. I don't like seeing myself double, you know? Let's see. We've got Last Beacon spamming again. That's traditional on the Rumble instance. By the way, I'm having problems with my Alienware. I mentioned this briefly yesterday. So I've got the other computer actually hooked up, but it's running Windows 11. So it's a little bit more wonky. It's working fairly well, though, overall. I've got to log into a couple of accounts that weren't logged into for a while on there. But other than that, generally, as a rule, good. So that's excellent. Fig Lego, damn Bongino is a deep state plan. I don't believe so. Not based on what's happening so far at the FBI. I think that actually he might do a good job. Give him a chance, you know. Stuart, stop using Windows. Well, I can't use Crapple products, and I'm not technologically sophisticated enough to set up Linux. So I would have to literally have a clanker physically come over to help me install it. Last Beacon is rambling about brown acid. I remember that from Woodstock, I believe it was. There was an instance where they had some brown acid tabs, and it was a faulty batch or something, and people were like tripping out real bad, and they're like, please don't take the brown acid. I remember that. Sir Megatroid, did you get the beads for not showing your titties? No, they just throw them off of the balconies and shit on Bourbon Street. Anytime there's a parade or any form of celebration in New Orleans, one of the greatest cities in the world, by the way, goddamn. Anytime there's any form of celebration, which is pretty much every other day, people throw beads out to everyone. One of them landed in the hat. It was hysterical. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I got my beads. Yeah, I've got a bunch of them here. Yeah, and I didn't have to buy them. They just throw them out for free. It's, I guess, part of the celebration. I would put the rest of them on, but I think it looks better when you've only got a couple of them on, as opposed to 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. Sebastian Monroe, looks like you may end up in NOLA for Mardi Gras after all. No, my next court date, which I may or may not even have to attend, actually, I've got to talk to my lawyer later, is, E-Party, dude, hasn't been out of the U.S. I lived in the Netherlands for 5 years, dude. So we'll be talking mainly about the Epstein file release today. We've got the Epstein file release and also Trump's impending declaration of English as the U.S. national language. Now, I talked about both of these in one-off videos, but these are two very important stories. So I'm going to be talking about them here on the live stream as well. These are pretty important. Straight Up Metal Detecting sent $2. Thank you very much. Metal detecting is fun as hell. Oh, I had a metal detector as a kid, come to think of it. And I swept the green, actually, in Woodstock. I found earrings, I found coins, I found all sorts of things. One day of metal detecting just in the park, in the Central Green, more than paid for the actual metal detector. I mean, it wasn't, the most sophisticated one. It was one of the ones that you give to kids or something like that. But yeah, I found all sorts of crazy shit. You wouldn't believe it. Timmy the Tool, releasing the all information on Epstein people would probably lead to Israel nuking the world. I never saw full disclosure and prosecutions as a real possibility. Yeah, I predicted this some time ago. It's not just because of my Jews. It's more like, hey, half of the world's rich and famous happen to be on this list. Well, shit, there goes the economy because all of those companies run dry overnight. All the banks get run. All of the celebrities get shit canned and lose their fan base. A bunch of singers lose their jobs. Shit, we just lost $1 trillion because we exposed the fact that some of these people are into some weird stuff. Wouldn't surprise me in the least. Straight up metal detecting sticks. What do you know about Demon Valak? Met him. I've met them all. He's non-committal. I know Stolas best of all. I find it very funny that one of the most famous modern series happens to gravitate around that particular character arc. I wonder if there's a reason for that. Copium Poppies. Copiumpoppies.com is officially live. As of this morning, we revealed the cover art for our upcoming EP, along with the track list and release date, along with merch. Yeah, the Copium Poppies are pretty good, pretty great. You should definitely follow along with them. Oscar Gonzalez, Gene Hackman mystery death. Yeah, there appear to be some questions in that particular triple killing. He died, his wife died, and the dog died. Apparently, the dog was locked in a closet, and the wife was found with certain substances that could kill you. It's not entirely clear what happened. Originally, based on the preliminary report, I figured, okay, there was a gas leak, carbon monoxide, something like that, and they just all died. Based on the non-preliminary report, though, it is becoming very, very strange. I don't know exactly what happened. Nobody else knows exactly what happened. Foul play possibly played a role. It's possible that the wife, for example, locked the dog in the closet, get him out of the way, and he starves to death, basically, poisons her husband, and then kills herself. It's possible that Hackman did the same thing. I have absolutely no clue. Well, yeah, apparently the dog was found locked in the closet. Psy Recipe Guy, did you get the Elon protest in New York? People are so locked in the matrix, they think less government equals authoritarianism. Clank. No, I didn't see the, I saw the Elon protest, yeah. Not physically, but. Just a sec here. I was going to pull up a couple of articles, but I didn't pop them in. So I guess we'll just get to the straight to the news in a moment. Timmy the Tool, what's your opinion on the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn? Actual magicians, or was it just a fart-huffing club for rich guys? Mostly the latter, yeah. That's what I think about 99% of so-called occultists. People who do bullshit tarot card readings, astrology nonsense, all of this nouveau bullshit that you see on TikTok and stuff like that. It's very cloying, very boring and bland to me. I have killed people with magic. Not with my own hands, but with spells. And so I tend to look down on people that consult a deck of cards in order to determine what they should do that day. Just saying, there's a little bit of a difference between these two things, a fundamental difference. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Epstein files briefly. Here's my thoughts on the Epstein files release. We have two categories of Epstein file material at our disposal. We have things that we already knew, like the flight logs, things like that. Those have already been public for years. And then we have massively redacted materials. Now, Pam Bondi is not fundamentally responsible for this problem because the FBI apparently, according to reports earlier today, has thousands of pages of documents that are unaccounted for. Oh, how convenient, by the way. with regards to this particular case. Here's what I want. I want you to find those fucking documents and release them publicly. That's number one. And I want you to look into Epstein's actual death, which was not a suicide. Nobody believes that plausibly. Even liberal commentators don't fucking believe that. He didn't kill himself. He was assassinated. They shut him up. They snapped his neck in his jail cell. Here's the timeline. Jeffrey Epstein is on suicide watch. So naturally, it's going to be hard to kill him during that period of time. The camera shut off. The guards fall asleep conveniently. The logs on the computers aren't even backed up, so they're not there. And then his cellmate, his former cellmate, hears screaming in his cell. He was killed. Now, here's the thing. I don't shed any tears for Epstein being killed. He was a monster. Child trafficking, whoring out young women, even if they're not children, drugging them up and stuff like that. His clientele considerable, blackmailing people. He was a monster. Thankfully, he's dead. But here's the thing. I thought of this earlier. Which one is worse? Let's say you're in combat. There's a soldier in front of you that's shooting at you. There's a soldier right behind you ready to drive the bayonet into your fucking back. The latter is probably the one you need to worry about more. Epstein is the soldier that's shooting at you. Whoever killed him and had him killed is the soldier directly behind you. That's my take on it. The monsters, the real monsters are not the ones that you see. The real monsters are the ones that are hiding, and you can't see them at all. And they have the capability through the legal system and through physical force and through money and so forth to hide themselves from view. Those are the monsters that killed Epstein, who was also a monster. They cannibalized their own in order to cover their own tracks. Yes, was Epstein a pedophile? Irredeemable? Did he deserve to die? Yeah, of course he did. Did the people that killed him have good motivations or bad motivations? That's all you have to ask yourself. I'm thinking probably the latter. Apache, Epstein has been dead for 5 years. Oh, shit, it went to the top. Why do people think the feds would keep any list? If it did exist, that list never made it into this decade. The list is there. It's probably shoved behind a shelf somewhere. Data retention rules are considerable. That being said, retaining the data does not mean that you need to necessarily make it accessible. I have a feeling that's what's happening right now. And by the way, just because Kash Patel seems to be a decent dude doesn't mean he's going to get access to the materials at all. It doesn't mean that he's ever going to be able to find them. Bongino, same thing. Anyone at the FBI. Shadow Sonata, 2 words, blackmail material. Yeah, and the other thing is some of the material can't be released at all because it would be child porn, effectively. If you have a video of Bill Clinton dicking down a 14-year-old, you can't even release it to the public. It's literally illicit. It's illegal to even have a copy of it. So they're never going to be able to release it. You might see it in discovery in a court case, but then you have to trigger the court case. My feeling is the Trump administration will move to try to find the missing files, will move to try to find the missing material, but it will largely be unsuccessful at doing so because a lot of the material has been destroyed. Well, we misfiled it. Sorry, Mr. President. Those files you were looking for, we can't find them. We don't know where they are. They could be in an entirely different bureaucratic department. Yeah, maybe the IRS is storing them for them. Copium Poppies, part 1. I don't believe Pam Bondi screwed up. It appears on purpose to me, and she's scapegoating the field office. If she intended to release the info, she wouldn't have announced anything until after she had the docs in hand. Yeah, I don't think that there's a cover-up going on by the Trump administration. I think it's more the fact that a lot of that material is probably missing and will probably stay missing. Copium Poppies, Part 2. Examined and wouldn't have gone the binders to astroturfed influencer shills. Yeah, I mean, it's literally a nothing burger. I mean, you get a little bit of disclosure, but I don't want a little bit of disclosure. I want to know who fucking visited the island. I realize that there are ongoing legal cases that are bogging down the process. Some of these cases are still open, and so they can't necessarily release everything. Totally understood. I understand completely. But can you give me like a little bit of meat on the bones or something like that? And yeah, I need the JFK files too. Lord of the Ree, Styx has met demons and killed someone with magic, but Tucker Carlson couldn't possibly have been attacked by a demon like he said, which seems legit. No, because what he's describing is night terrors, quite literally. It's sleep paralysis that had nothing to do with demons. But yeah, I'm very, very skilled with chaos magic. People think I'm delusional when I say it, but then they'll pray tonight. Very, very interesting. Just a sec here. I'm trying to pull that article up. Damn. Well, never mind. Oh, then we have to talk about Trump's impending executive order of the day. He's been making quite a number of them, you may have seen. He's definitely no slouch. English will now become the national language of the United States. This will immediately be injuncted by some liberal activistic federal court. It will go before SCOTUS potentially, and then we'll see what happens. I look at it this way. Virtually everyone in the United States speaks English. Most people do not speak fluent Spanish or French or any other third-party language. English is the lingua franca, which is ironic, of the United States. While I don't have any problem with people like, they're on a job site or in their home or something and speaking Spanish to each other or something like that, it's perfectly fine. But if you are in commerce, government, banking, things like that, English should be the language that is spoken. And it should be understood that there is a national language. Virtually every other country in the entire world has a national language. The United States is one of the few that doesn't have one. Liberals have come out already and called Donald Trump xenophobic for suggesting this. But the thing is, do you think that Hispanic people can't speak English? Do you think that Asian immigrants aren't speaking English, generally speaking, outside of a business context, outside of the neighborhood? Do you think that black people are incapable of speaking English? Oh, I would love for the liberal commentators to come out and claim that. Oh, no, they ain't speaking English. They're speaking Swahili or something like that. Boy, oh boy, would you, be hoisted on your own petard. No, the fact is 99% of the population preferentially speaks English. Make it the national language. There's no problem with it. It's not banning you from speaking other languages within your neighborhood, within your community, within your home, within your business. You came from Mexico and, you hired a bunch of other people from Mexico because that's what you're used to. And you speak Spanish to each other on the job. Who cares? Nobody cares. But you probably speak English anyway, most of the time anyway. So who cares? The Dead Night Tiger. The Constitution was written in English. Exactly. It is the de facto national language. It has been for over 2 centuries. Why not just make it the national language? Nobody's going to, somebody's offended by this. Some francophone or somebody who speaks mainly Spanish or Portuguese or something. Well, fuck you. Who cares? It doesn't mean anything. You're asking 99% of the population to bow down before your particular whim. You're effectively acting as a dictatorial influence, actually, which is hilarious because actually they're claiming that Donald Trump is doing that. Wasted. Good morning from the grave to everyone, except for Jim Jordan. He can fuck himself. Brock Sampson. Teach me chaos magic or point me in the right direction. Thanks. Try bodily meditation and focus. And a little bit of bloodletting doesn't hurt. No, this is pretty good. Ramon C. GTC. Clankers is a cool name for a wizard guild. Nick C. My brother, I need a chaos spell that will give me more physical strength. I don't think that will disqualify me. Why the fuck are leftists celebrating? You'd think they want these pervs perp walked. Yeah, I don't think you need any more physical strength, Nick. Just saying, based on the pictures that you've sent me. Nick is my friend from high school. He does bodybuilding and stuff like that. If you get any more physical strength, you may become the gravitational center of the world. So I don't think that I'll do that. Yeah, it's funny how leftists are actually happy about the fact that we have non-disclosure with regard to Epstein Island. Okay, we've got hundreds, maybe thousands of pedophiles roaming around, many of which are rich and empowered people, owning collectively hundreds of billions of dollars of assets, possibly trillions. But you don't want to know who they are because Orange Man bad. That's literally the only reason. I mean, I can't even understand it. I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Copium poppies. But yeah, the fact that those influencers have been on Timcast, and I'm pretty sure Tim isn't on the side of freedom, given how worked up he gets defending Elon's right to censor people, makes me less trusting of them as well. Well, I've been on Timcast. He's not in favor of censorship. He fights against it, actually. I've been on Timcast, but he's not a free speech purist like I am. We have a little bit of a difference of agreement. This happens all the time. It's just like me and Razor Fist. We're basically brothers from another mother as far as, creators go. But he's wrong on pineapple pizza. He's wrong on how to cook a steak. And I can't fucking ride a motorcycle. So there are some differences still. Lightning stab. How much black magic would you need to have the Epstein files released? I don't think the files even exist anymore. Bondi is trying to look into it, but I feel that the FBI at the managerial level is going to cockblock her. And Kash Patel. They're literally going to cockblock their own boss. I have a feeling that's going to happen. I predicted it. There was a reason that I predicted that there wouldn't be full disclosure. Wasted, yes. If you choose your leg off and replace it with a peg leg, I think you mean saw it up. You do have one foot in the grave. Sticks, did you see the GOP judiciary post? It's a real fucking disgrace. They teased the Epstein files, then linked Rick Ashley's Never Gonna Give You Up. What? Okay, this I gotta see. Just a sec, everyone, before I read out the sponsors. Are you fucking crazy? You gotta be shitting me. The House Judiciary? Link me. Link me. Link me immediately. I've got to see this shit. Link me an archive. Jesus H. fucking Christ. Welcome to the GOP, where we've got a winning issue, but we refuse to win on it. Please send me the archive. I'll be on my Twitter DMs. Yeah, if somebody can send me the archive, Jesus, I've got to see this for myself. Holy shit. It doesn't surprise me, and that's sad. It should surprise me. when you are part of a legitimate political party, you would think that you act with at least slight degrees of decorum. But they're Republicans, so, you know. Let me try to, well, my DMs aren't working anyway, so I'm going to try. No, well, there's no way for me to access it. I'm going to try. Oh, you got to be shitting me. That would be a new low even for the Republican Party. Wasted. Cowards have already deleted the post. It was specifically at GOP Judiciary. Sadly, I don't have an archive of it. Okay. Let me try to pull up the archive. Now knowing them, they probably. I'm just going to assume that everyone's telling me the truth, and that's insane. Okay, so we've got breaking news. The Republicans have decided to commit political suicide, despite the fact that they won the election. Fucking nuts. And again, I wish I was surprised. I really genuinely wish that I was surprised, but I'm not. Holy shit. P. Diddy, yo, Playboy, want a party? I'm not into a P. Diddy party sort of situation. I like adult women. BW, I know the release was bad, but this is a give-up sitch. Everyone seems to be turning on each other like lefties. How bad for the midterms? I don't think it affects the midterms, but I mean, if you want the party to function properly, you're going to need to keep it in line. People are going to need to express outrage when they do something outrageous. The Democrats are generally much better at doing this. This is why their party generally has been well-tooled more than the Republicans. The Republicans, you hand them something on a golden platter, and then they just throw the platter across the room, and they stomp around. This is how Republicans typically operate. This is insane. Copium Poppies, no he doesn't. I super chatted multiple times telling him what was happening to us, and his crew gaslit us, defending the censorship of legal speech. I'm not a free speech absolutist either, but censoring legal speech is unforgivable. Yes, I do believe that speech should be effectively uncensored. I agree with you. Yeah, hand the Democrats a golden platter, and they'll smash you in the head with it. Hand the Republicans a golden platter, they'll dump out the contents, throw it across the room, and then take a shit on the floor. So, you know, choose your poison. I'll read out the sponsors in a minute. I've literally got to take a minute break because I can't even believe what I'm seeing with the Judiciary GOP. I am going to hyper fucking ventilate because it's so fucking retarded. Just a sec. I'll be right back. All right, everyone, I am back, I believe. Yeah, no, yeah, looking at the story, I just fact-checked it briefly. Yeah, it's apparently true. The GOP judiciary apparently believes that it's appropriate to rickroll people over a story about a person who victimized thousands of people. That's a real great idea. Yeah, that's A plus work, dude. This is why I'm not a Republican. I've mentioned it before. Cam2425IA. Go to Tim Pool's show from the last night, 22 minutes in, and he plays the rickroll. It's, oh my God. I'm almost left speechless. I've been analyzing politics and news for 15 years now. And the Republicans have repeatedly let me down. There's a reason why I never joined the party. I like Trump. I like Rand Paul, a few others. But Jesus H. fucking Christ. Are you completely insane? Yeah, we're not just going to give an arrow into the quiver of the enemy. We're going to give them like 20 goddamn quivers and extra bows and field them a few extra bowmen. It makes no sense. Nothing makes sense politically right now. What are you fucking doing? It's like basically it's political suicide almost. Makes no sense at all. Quebecistan, I bet it was Lindsey Graham. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, when the GOP wins, they get scared because they're not used to it. Time pair. What happened? Well, apparently the GOP judiciary rickrolled people with regards to the Epstein files. They actually fucking did that. I don't have really words to express how disappointing that is. I hope they bodied whoever made that post, by the way. BW, I mean, is this a give-up sitch? Because other creators, not you, be acting like it is. We need to apply pressure to Trump. What happened to adapt and overcome? Trump overall is doing a relatively good job. Better than his first term, actually. But now the GOP has decided, oh shit, we won too much. Holy shit. We've got to self-sabotage somehow. Brock Sampson, I don't think we're going to see anything juicy in the Epstein files. Israel is complicit, and we can't do that to our greatest ally, right? Timmy the Tool, in case you need the archive. Okay, we've got the archive. Thank you very much. Oh, shit. Switch off Rumble. Oh, for the love of God. Yep, it's confirmed. It's real. Yeah. The House Judiciary in the GOP. Yep, they rickrolled people over a monster who literally trafficked possibly thousands of people. This is their idea of fun. How to tell you that you're committing career suicide without telling me. Anyways, let's get to our sponsors because that pretty much wraps up the news, I suppose. First, we've got cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. I take them every morning for a reason. They boost my energy and keep me alive despite all of the things trying to kill me. And I'm not even an Australian, so they should probably export there too. Pumpkinfirecrafts.us. You can get bookmarks, important for the bibliophile in your life. Yours truly. Keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons, glassware, and much more. BiltongUSA.com. Anton is a frequent commenter. You can use code STICKS for 10% off site-wide, by the way. You can get Bovrite, you can get Biltong, you can get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer mugs and cups and things like that. We've got tumblers available. By the way, it's delicious. I've got a whole nother container of it, too. I hope he sends me a couple more next time he sends a shipment. We've got Wicked Needle Embroidery.bigcartel.com, where you can get Sticks, Hex, and Hammer hats, While they don't have tricorns available, they do have baseball caps available. Several colors, several designs available. Heritage Heirloom Seed Company.com. We've got Sticks, Axe, and Hammer soap there. We've got the cedar, clove, and blueberry mix. And then we've got the marjoram lavender mix as well. So we've got 2 different colored bars. Also, you can get a seed survival bucket. Probably important for your spring. You'll be growing a lot of crops, let me tell you that much. We've got websterswares.com/sticks-wares, where you can get all sorts of stuff. I think they still have some Trump merchandise available as well. But we've got blades. They're very sharp. Be careful. We've got beanies, which are hysterical because that's an homage to Tim Pool. And then also my favorite, the metal straws. Save a turtle and then go to New Orleans and eat a turtle. That's the way to do it. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, where you can get delicious coffee and delicious tea. We've got the Clanker coffee. Actually, I think I have one over here. Is this a Clanker blend? Yeah, this is the Clank blend. Ta-da! Yeah, they sent me a couple more of them and some more of the Panamanian blend. And there was one other, I can't remember the name of it, but it was it smelled delicious. I haven't drank it yet, but trust me, it won't last long. BW. So our choices are not vote, third party, and condemn country to communism, or keep voting for a party that only has Trump going for it and has nothing when he's gone. There are others within the party that make sense. It's just that the GOP in general doesn't make sense. Rafa Sticks, you have to listen to Voltaire album, To the Bottom of the Sea. It's a gothic pirate must. Also, have you visited the Vampire Club on your trip? I did not get the chance to visit the Vampire Club. Potions, it's called. There are actually 2 of them. I'm going to be going to them both probably when I go there for trial. Drennan Official, Sticks, where's your cutlass? Well, my friend, of course, it's right next to me. Yeah, Clanker made this. It's handmade. It's of Damascus steel. This, I can't imagine what the hell it would cost if it was commercially available. Yeah, this is the real deal, and I love it. I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for sending it to me. I keep it by my side for a reason, because it's actually capable of being used in battle. You never know when a bear will come through the door, and I figure, hey, cutlass is better than using your bare fist for that sort of thing. Last Beacon, honestly, there is no hope for Trump. There's no hope for the GOP. There is, but the GOP really needs to reform itself. The organizational capacity of the GOP is extremely and incredibly poor. They don't know what they're doing, in other words. And when they do know what they're doing, they do it wrong. Whereas the Democrats are much more shrewd. And that centrality has actually been a drag on the Democratic Party. But in some cases, like the one we're seeing right now, maybe it's a little bit helpful. When your party has devolved into simply making memes, you should have people that make good memes. That would be helpful. Trump knows how to do this. Rand Paul knows how to do this. He's been doing it on Festivus for years now, etc. There are Massey and certain others, but and Anna Luna, Lauren Boebert. These people understand the technological era and they understand the flow of information, but many of them do not seem to do so. And so you'll get a Lindsey Graham or a John McCainite or something like that once in a while making a fucking post like this. 1,000 kids got trafficked. Let's rickroll people. What are you talking about, dude? I can't even fathom who the hell made the decision to make that post. I'm hoping it was a low-level staffer and they fired them. I'm hoping that it didn't come from the higher-ups. Mr. Baker, can't I just make turtle soup myself without going to New Orleans? And you can. You got to be careful, though. Sometimes turtles eat things that are toxic. And if you eat the meat, you can die, actually. So I'm probably going to continue getting Ralph's on the park with the farm-raised turtle. Wasted. Damn, I gave the prime news of the day. Too bad it's arguably the most shitty thing the GOP has ever done. Now, let's wait for the next shitty thing that they do. And it'll probably be only a matter of days. Fucking retards. BW, some of my other creators were saying that because Epstein was tied to Israel, so our Zionist GOP not willing to say anything, Israel is the one thing they can tear the right apart. I don't think it's about that. I think that they looked into the list. Somebody. They certainly have it. They realized the collective net worth of the individuals on the list. How many celebrities, banksters, corporatists, politicians, military brass, foreign diplomats, etc., etc. They realized how wide-sweeping the damage would be if they released it publicly. And they're deciding to push it aside, so to speak. We may end up getting some disclosure, but we don't have it yet. What we have now is basically the same flight records and shit that we already had, and things that are so heavily goddamn redacted that they're fundamentally useless. Sigil, I can't believe the greatest troll of 2025 came from the GOP and it was a goddamn rickroll. Yeah, it's completely insane. That's not a subject that you rickroll people on. Jeffrey Epstein is a monster. Bigger monsters killed him, by the way. He didn't kill himself. He human trafficked, like fucking 14-year-olds to the rich and famous. By the way, again, Ghislaine Maxwell got assigned to prison, low security facility, of course, also coincidental, for trafficking people to no one, apparently. Very strange. Very, very strange. Well, it's not strange. Coming from the GOP, that sort of move isn't strange. But nothing about the Epstein death makes sense. Nothing about the Maxwell case makes sense. Nothing about the GOP's response makes sense at this point. It's when it's that nonsensical, there's probably something wrong. King of Biltong, I suspect things are going to get much worse before it improves. Once a few people get arrested and end up in prison, things will change. Well, we're going to hope that happens, but there's no guarantee that it does at all. The public has a low capacity for long-term listening into news and stuff like that, a low attention span, if you will. And so within a week, it'll be forgotten. 99% of people will have forgotten that it ever happened. That becomes a problem. Oh yeah, look at the end of the sword, by the way. It's got a little skull on it. Man, I love this. I get sent so much cool... Ooh, shit. Don't want to destroy that. I get sent so much cool stuff by subscribers. My entire pirate outfit pretty much was sent by subscribers. This was sent by a subscriber. The coat was sent by a subscriber. The hat was sent by a subscriber. The eyeglasses, I got those myself, but those are cheap, so it's a little bit different. And I've got my pirate booty over there. Some of it. Yeah, I love swords. I've got, I think, how many blades do I have now? I think I've got about 12 of them, actually. Because I've also got the artillery sword here. I've got the 2 sabers. I've got a bayonet, one of the ones for the M1 Garand or Gerund, or however you pronounce it. I've got several folding knives, several more from Webster's Wares, actually, one of which sliced me up on a live stream. That was pretty funny. I've got an old Masonic blade, actually, a ceremonial one. It would still run a person through, but it's mostly for decorative purposes more than anything else. Then I've got the machete. That's over here. Yeah, a subscriber sent this too. I get all sorts of cool weapons. Yeah. Apparently, this is for pulling the skin off of animals when you kill them. Something like that. It's for skinning. I really like that tool. It's Colombian survival. I really love it. Yeah. The serrated back. Can you imagine getting sliced by that? Yeah. You will not survive. You will be bled out within seconds. Especially if you go right up under the perineum, right into that vein. You're not going to last very long. The Emperor's Champion. Pirates or Vikings? Which is cooler? Pirates. I am Team Pirate. I mean, you probably know that to begin with. Lord of the Ree. It's entirely possible that the night terrors or sleep paralysis Tucker experienced are in fact demonic or spiritual attacks. Also, black pills make you gay. Clank. I do not believe that night terrors and things like that have anything to do with the occult. Is it possible to lash out at a person, place, or thing and cause destruction? Yes, I have done it. I've spoken about this before. I won't bother to detail it again because some people think I'm insane when I say it. But does that mean that if you have a nightmare that someone's attacking you magically? Probably not. It sounds like Tucker Carlson had a dog that had a seizure in its sleep, scratched him up, and he misinterpreted it. That's my read on it. Yeah, imagine getting a serrated blade inserted right next to your perineum, where the vein goes through your leg. You can literally bleed out within 5 seconds. That would be painful. It would also be a very quick death, so, I mean, I guess there's that. If anyone comes for me, they're facing dual blades anyway, so you're unlikely to survive. Go ahead and shoot me. I'll take you out with me. Yes, piss juggernaut, the femoral artery. Yeah, apparently you'll bleed out faster from the femoral artery than you would from, like, the jugular vein, actually. At least I've heard that. I don't know if it's true. Odan, Vikings had the coolest hats. No, I think this is pretty goddamn cool. Ubuk, the gut hooker's worst sticks. It brings intestines out with it. Well, I know to use the reverse side of the blade if I ever have to defend myself. Horton Psalm, not 5 seconds, but definitely under a minute. Also sticks, black powder weapons are not legally considered firearms. True. And there are 6-shot black powder revolvers from the Civil War times. Fun facts. Yeah, you can get modern builds of them too. They can also be swapped out. I think there was one revolver design I remember a subscriber told me, and it's a black powder revolver, but you can swap out the cylinder actually for a 38 cal. Not that I would do that, but you can if you want to. I'd like to fire black powder revolver. That sounds fun. Nick S. Ready for the dog pillin', Cap'n? Turtles toy box. Sticks. Demons don't fuck with people. Also sticks. I had gay sex with an owl demon. Yeah, it seems like people are all on one of 4 pages. Pirates, Vikings, knights, or ninjas. It's like there's 4 categories of dudes out there. Which one do you want to be? I chose pirate myself. Yeah, having a black powder revolver would be pretty cool, like an old style Colt or something. And they still make basically the same thing, still in black powder. And under the NFA, it's not considered a firearm. Even though you're firing a ball at somebody at definitely lethal speed. It must smell really good too. Have you ever smelled powder when it burns? I have. I think that it smells great. Inland Surfer. Hi, Sticks. Senior editor of Wired investigated cell phone tracking comings and goings to Epstein Island. Interesting findings. In the future, hope they report more than the current investigators. Yeah, what's going to happen is the government is going to get bogged down in legal proceedings. So while the Trump administration may wish to release the Epstein files in part or in whole, they may find themselves legally incapable of doing so. We've seen nonstop obstruction for the first month of the administration, plus nonstop obstruction for the last 4 years in the the former administration, which was not present when Biden was in office, you will notice. We've seen that already. It would be strange if the judiciary did not, therefore, try to bog down the process as much as it can. That's basically the resort to which the liberals are going. Sigil, it's funny how trolling stops being trolling and becomes all unacceptable and verboten when you're, in general, not Stick specifically, on the receiving end. What the GOP did was hilarious. But it's not a funny topic. That's the whole point. The whole point of trolling is to be funny, edgy, stuff like that. If a private individual rickrolls people on the Epstein list, no, that's fine. This is the GOP judiciary. They're taxpayer funded. I'm paying them to do their job. So I don't want them wasting people's time rickrolling them on such a sensitive issue. I mean, you might as well just fucking, why don't they just post illicit porn on their goddamn page at that point? Lord of the Ree. Okay, Sticks, if you say so. Not saying you're insane. I'm just saying that it's possible Tucker is telling the truth. God bless Clankton and God bless America. Yeah, I mean, we know what happened, though. He was all scratched up. His dog, he had 4 dogs on the bed, and he ended up getting scratched up. It's pretty obvious what happened. One of the dogs had a bad dream and pawed out at him, and he got scratched up, and he misinterpreted it. It's very, very obvious. I mean, the evidence speaks for itself. Zinc Orby. Is it true that Vlad the Impaler switched from pointed spikes to rounded ends to delay death? Yes, there was a specific impalement method. Normally, impalement is you take a pike or something like that, stick it in the ground, and impale someone on that. They bleed out and die pretty quickly. But if you take a rounded, and he learned this from the Ottomans, by the way, supposedly, if you take a rounded end on the pike and you don't have a blade on it at all, and you slide it through the person's gastrointestinal system, you can hoist them up for hours or even days before they expire. And then you can watch them suffering and laugh at them. And Vlad apparently took great pleasure in doing so. Wasted Bonehead. Sigil, this is not a fucking joke. The Emperor's Champion. Be a man and use a Dane axe and prove yourself worthy to enter Valhalla. I've got about 7 axes as well, actually. I want to get a mace and a ball and chain. I love all of that all the older varieties of weaponry. Can you imagine going on a rampage with a ball and chain? People will be like, what the fuck is happening? Senor Faces. The Trump admin promised to release it, thinking that it would just be a grab from a drawer, but reality hit and desperation to save face made them do this. Possible. I think it's more like they're bogged down in legal proceedings. What they didn't realize is that there are ongoing cases pertinent to some of the people on the list. So they can't release the full list. It's legally impossible. If they did, they would end up with a massive number of extremely high-level lawsuits. Yeah, let's talk about Vlad the Impaler, because it's one of my favorite subjects. He did drink blood on one occasion, I'm convinced, but he didn't do that routinely. I think he did that to piss off the Polish and German noblemen that were there at his court, that he was whining and dining because they were trying to finance his fight against the Ottomans. So at one point, he goes up and bleeds somebody who's already impaled and dying anyway, and then he just drinks the blood in front of them. Otherwise, it was typically red wine. He had no taste. White wine is so much better. Anyway, yeah, Vlad was an interesting character. His father, Radu, was the dragon, and Vlad is son of the dragon, and he took that nobility title very seriously and attempted to keep his people sovereign as much as possible. And at one point, he was in the Ottoman Empire itself. He and his brother were both captive there. They were sodomized. They watched impalements. That's where he got the idea of impaling people without, sharpened pike from. They were abused habitually. Radu sort of blended into the culture. He learned their language, Turkish, and had the concubines and the fine wine and stuff like that. Vlad was always the hellion of the family. He was the rebel. He had great care for his family lineage and for his people. And so he was the one that got punished worse. Radu, at some point, once he learned Turkish, he got the concubines and the fruit salad, and Vlad was still getting sodomized. This harbored a great resentment in Vlad. And so when he went back to Wallachia, it's funny because I don't know why, but the Ottomans decided to put Vlad in charge, actually, of Wallachia as a puppet instead of Radu. They favored him. I have a feeling it had to do with his combat experience. He was probably just better at swordplay and archery and stuff like that. And they said, well, this one might be more reliable, but as long as we control this other one, he's better, so we'll put him in charge. And so Vlad became the dictator of Wallachia. And it's a very, very fascinating thing. I mean, it spawned Dracula, one of the greatest stories of all time, and one of the greatest movies, 1992. Annie Lennox on soundtrack, by the way. And Vlad takes over the country. And at one point, the Ottomans advance. Vlad cut him to goddamn pieces and impaled 20,000 fucking people. I think on that occasion, he didn't bother to use the rounded pikes, by the way. I think he just regularly impaled him. The Ottomans advance. They see a forest of bleeding bodies. The Ottoman Sultan was so afraid that he fled. Radu, meanwhile, he continued to advance with his men, and Vlad, by that point, didn't really have an army. He had gone scorched earth, so he had like maybe a few hundred men. Then he manages to escape, actually, with the help of some gypsies. He manages to escape through the underworks of the castle Dracula, quite literally. And then he gets captured by the Hungarians. German chroniclers claim he was impaling small animals and insects and studying them and laughing about them the entire time. And I think he was in jail in Hungary for several years. I think it might have even been a decade. And finally, they let him out because the Ottomans attack them. He takes back over the country, and finally they behead him. They store his head in honey and bring it back to the Ottoman Empire, and that's a wrap, basically. Very, very strange story. Very interesting person. Not necessarily a nice person, but at the very least, he did care about the sovereignty of his people. Sigil Stone, remember 3 Guys, 1 Hammer or Live Leak? People need to quit moral fagging. I remember both, actually. But, I mean, come on. this is a government-sponsored page. It's a little bit different from if I shitpost on Twitter. Disinformation super spreader. Ryan Dawson released the full list and network mapped out years ago, but was heavily censored for it. You can find them here on Rumble or on his main site, ancreport.com. Huh. Your friendly neighborhood weenie dog, El Clanco, likes big booty Latinas, my man. Nothing wrong with Latinas. What am I saying? What are you saying? The Emperor's Champion. Vlad found out there's a path from the rectum to the mouth that misses all the vital organs and arteries, meaning victims could be alive for days, possibly weeks. Yeah, I believe that it wasn't, if you had the stake through the mouth, you would asphyxiate. That doesn't appear to be what happened. He would just slide them down rectally onto the piece of wood. And once it's deep enough into the gastrointestinal system, they're immobilized. They're incapable of moving due to the pain. And he would just perch them up there. Now, it seems that he did also impale people in the normal fashion, too. It sort of depended on the circumstances and possibly the crime that they supposedly committed. And there was another story. He used to leave a golden goblet in the capital city out on the park. And anyone in the world could come and drink from it. Anyone could use the goblet. But if you tried to take it, you're going to get chopped to pieces. It was a symbol of his power. So effectively, look, this treasurable item is literally laying out in the open, but none of you dare to take it. That seems to be the point, I suppose. He was definitely an authoritarian, but even some authoritarians have positive aspects about them. Speak of the devil. King of Biltong. Sorry, I got a little bit too much Bovrite in that bite. You got to adulterate it a little bit. Don't drink blood for sustenance. Just eat some Biltong. It has B12, iron, zinc, creatine, and more. Perfect for a much-needed spike of energy. Get it at BiltongUSA.com. Use code STIX10 for 10% off. No, this stuff is really great. The flavor is superb, but it's rather on the salty side. Less salty than Vegemite, though, I've noticed. Vegemite's like twice as salty, and the Australians, they're masochists. No offense to any Australians out there. Yeah, Bovrite is definitely the best of the big three. Ramon C. GTC is Vlad Tepes, his last name. His last name was Tepesh, according to the Ottomans, of course. That's not literally his last name. It's a title. It means the destroyer or impaler. And so that's what they named him. Broken Prophet is sticks chewing tobacco. No, I'm eating Bovrite, actually. Bovrite. It's from South Africa. It's basically an improved version of Vegemite that's actually palatable. Again, no offense to any Australians out there. Lemon curd. Wrong. Pronounced Sepesh. Two cedillas, not one. Well, my apologies then. Nick S. I think the main question is, what type of animal blood can I drink without getting sodium poisoning? Seems like going to the local butcher would deliver upon request for a pint. Yeah, I wish there were a proper butcher around here. I'd like to get some animal blood and, drink that. That'd be fun. B-list history. Explain to my idiot self how a defamation suit would be a concern RE client list. Apart from qualified immunity, if the name is on the document, the evidence would be objective, wouldn't it? Possibly. But if there is an ongoing case and guilt has not been proven in a court of law, or if the individual involved in triggering the release is not Donald Trump himself, who has that qualified immunity, so if it's Pam Bondi, or if it's Kash Patel or something like that, they could get in big trouble. Wasted. I encourage drinking blood and eating biltong. Double the protein. Yeah, I've had blood before. They have like blood sausage in Europe quite commonly. It's pretty good, actually. They usually spike it with nutmeg or mace or something like that. I don't exactly know why. It's pretty tasty, actually. Yeah, blood sausage is pretty good. Ronald Simmons, take the Pepsi Coke Animal Blood Challenge. Oh, God. Yeah, I want to go to the UK sometime and have blood pudding or something like that. Black pudding in the UK. I would probably love it. The weirder the food, the more likely I am to like it. Like turtle soup, for example. 99% of people have never even heard of turtle soup. But it's delicious, and I love it. Just the way that I am. If it's a conventional food, like I don't generally eat like burgers and fries and stuff like that sometimes, but if it's really, really weird food, it's like, hey, can I try that? Yeah, man. Yeah, baby. Yeah, virtually nobody has tried turtle soup. And by the way, if they knew how tasty it was, turtle farming would be 10 times more popular. It must be expensive or something like that. I think it takes them a while to get to maturity. And of course, they're cute animals. So the cuter the animal, the less likely people are to eat it. You may have noticed this. I've never seen ferret meat, for example, on a menu. Cows, it's like, okay, you fat, ugly fucking pig. Yeah, punch you in the face with a sledgehammer, you know? Broken Prophet, never had turtle. If you ever get down to New Orleans, and you should do that for your next vacation because it's fun as fucking fuck, you should go to Ralph's on the Park and get the turtle soup. But if they have the crawfish bisque as the soup of the day, you should get that instead because it's literally the best food I've ever eaten in my goddamn life. Phenomenal. Literally the best. I've had all sorts of good food. But yeah, I don't know. They must put crack in the soup or something like that. Ooh, but Cuban. Yeah, Cuban bread sandwiches are really, really good too down in Florida. That would definitely, it's not on my top 10 list, but it would be in the top 20 list. I had one only one time, and it was so fucking great. Wasted. What's the most exotic animal you've ever eaten? Well, turtle is kind of exotic. I've had shark steak. I've had ostrich burgers. I would say probably buffalo testicles. I watched an episode of Fear Factor. This is with Joe Rogan way back in the day. This is back in like 2002 or something like that. And he ate and they were eating buffalo testicles. And we had a buffalo farm in northern Vermont. And we went there, you know, for buffalo burgers mainly. And I think we got a roast. And it was the most delicious stew you could ever imagine. And I was like asking, hey, do you have testicles? And he's like, yeah, we got testicles. And they were cheap as fuck. They tasted basically like a low-grade steak. It's not that they were particularly tasty, but there was nothing weird or unpalatable about them. But I guess that would that be the most exotic? I'm not 100% sure. I've eaten all sorts of weird shit. Next time I go down south, I'm going to try to find as many exotic foods as I can to eat. I've had gator and so forth. Gator is pretty good, by the way. I've never had snake, though. That's one thing. Apparently, there are a couple of butchers in the New Orleans area that carry snake. And I really, really want to get that and find somebody who can roast it up and cook it properly. I'm assuming that, you know, you're buying it raw. I would love to try snake. One thing I've never tried. Wasted. All right, clankers. I must leave despite the great bands. Peace out. Peace out, my dude. Copium poppies. If you like weird food, try this combo. Take a poppy seed muffin, not the lemon flavored ones, but regular, and wash it down with a NOS energy drink. Both are all right by themselves, but combined, it's great. I like the sugar-free NOS. It's not sold around here anymore, sadly. And I don't really eat muffins. Fat Bike Expedition. Kangaroo sucks. I've had that. Suz, fish eyeballs. I was tricked into eating one. Now that was strange. I've eaten that. I've eaten frog legs. I've eaten pretty much everything under the sun that I can get my hands on. I'm definitely the least picky eater around here. David Brian Ford. I wonder if Styx had to powder his nose on the break. Lol. Now I need to powder my wig. Nick S. I will just stick to Spam. I have never eaten Spam. I'm just going to fucking buy some later. I'm going to try it for the first time in my life. I mean, I'm 37 goddamn years old. At some point, I guess I should try Spam. It seems to be like a national tradition. John Hoyle. Is it possible that Epstein was backed by some country and that's why the files are politically risky? He came out of nowhere and has an invisible background. Oh, no, he was a trendsetter. He was actually very visible for a long time. It's just that it's been memory hold. He was the party boy of the rich and famous, actually. Trump palled around with him till he perved on one of his underage employees and then promptly got kicked out of every one of Trump's properties for life, which the liberal legacy media literally never mentions. This was after he took a couple of flights on Epstein's plane, although never to the island. Trump is definitely not on the client list. That's for certain. We know this. But Epstein, I don't think he was backed by a country. I think it's more that he blackmailed hundreds of rich and powerful people representing a significant proportion of the Western economy. So if people knew that all of these people were dubious at best and possibly outright perverts, it might be a little bit problematic if you release the list. So I think that they'll memory hole it. And I think that people will be suckered in by that and not demand the list for more than a few more days. Most people will completely forget about it. The government's counting on them to do that. Realize. I wouldn't recommend jellyfish. I didn't know that jellyfish was even edible. I assumed that wouldn't it be poisonous? Maybe you can deactivate the poison and eat it? I'm assuming it'd be expensive as hell. I've had fugu, but it was in an instant soup, actually, from Japan that JD Spare sent. So I'm assuming it might not have been real fugu. I'm not 100% sure. I want to go to Japan and get real fugu sliced up. Maybe I'll die, you know. I'll definitely record the experience. So if I go face first into the plate, then you'll know what happened. Copium poppies. That combo isn't meant to be healthy. It's meant to taste good and get you cracked out. If no sugar-free is available, get the regular. I love the flavor of sugar-free NOS, actually. I used to drink that all the time in college. You just can't get it around here. I mean, I'm sure that I could get it shipped, but the other one was, and they don't sell this either. I can't remember whether it was NOS or Monster. There was one that they packaged with, what's it called? It's that nitrous oxide, I believe, instead of carbon based. And it had a really, really smooth flavor. So yeah, it was literally packaged with nitrous oxide. I think the idea was like, well, this is basically power fuel for your body because they put this in race cars and shit like that, you know? Nick asks, fucking what? I am approaching my late 30s. I feel like an old person sitting in an old person's home. Thanks, Mr. Warwick. Yeah, now, late 30s is not old. I've come to understand this as a 37-year-old. Ramon C. GTC, fried eggs, fried spam, and white rice is awesome. Yeah, I guess today is the fateful day. Today is the day that I try spam. I will report in, assuming that I, live through the experience. I'm not going to enjoy this. I have a feeling that it's not going to be particularly tasty. Sounds like it's just like salami or something like that. I don't know. Copium poppies. NOS originally came in bottles that looked like nitrous oxide bottles. They discontinued that, sadly. It tasted better from those bottles. Yeah, the sugar-free I used to drink all the time. And for a while, back when I drank sugary drinks, I did the nitrous oxide one. And it was admittedly very smooth and tasty. If they had made a sugar-free version of it, then I'd probably be drinking one right now. Right now, though, I've got my old friend. Delicious. At this point, it's definitely become a Bant stream. There is no longer any order. Disorder has come undone. Yeah, what does Spam taste like compared to like a Vienna sausage or a salami or something like that? That's one question that I have before I go offline in a few minutes. Like, I've had Vienna sausage, and when you're dirt poor, you know, you put several links in a piece of bread with some ketchup and mustard, and you've got a hot dog, basically. And, of course, I've had salami and pastrami and stuff like that. So, super salty mush. It's gross. Broken Prophet. Like a ham loaf. Apparently, a lot of people in Asia really like Spam, and it's considered delicious. Meanwhile, in the United States, for the most part, it's people think of it as trailer park food, but I've never actually had it. I've eaten Vienna sausages and stuff. I've eaten things that would turn your stomach, and I've eaten really, really delicious foods. I don't really care. There are only a few things that I don't like. For instance, runza. Runza is some sort of Eastern European dish. I'm not exactly sure what's in it, but it has a weird, to me, it has a weird aftertaste. I'm not exactly sure why. I tried it when I was a child. I hated it. Recently, well, I mean, 2 years ago, when you're 37, 2 years ago is recently, my mom made it again, right? I tried it. On the first bite, oh, this is actually pretty fucking good. Then the aftertaste set in, and the second bite was like, oh, no, I still don't like it. So I've given up. Runza, not something I'm going to eat. Quiche is another thing. I've only ever had a few quiches that were good. One of my exes actually cooked quiche many times. This was many, many years ago. And hers came out fairly well. But otherwise, I've never had a quiche that I liked. If I do have quiche, I have to load it up with ketchup. Like, we're talking like a 1-to-1 ratio with ketchup in order to make it palatable. It's just disgusting. I don't understand wasting good eggs on making quiche when you could make fried eggs, you could make hard-boiled eggs, you could devil the eggs, you can soft-boil the eggs, you can scramble the eggs. There's so many ways to cook eggs. Why would you waste it in a quiche? I just don't understand it. Sorry. Jay Bitchy, love your content, bro. Thanks for being a powerful voice from a right-wing-ish perspective. Yeah, more of a libertarian perspective, of course. But yeah, I mean, at the moment, I have to lean towards the right. But the GOP earlier today was rickrolling people with regards to a child sex trafficker. This is why I can't be a Republican. When I saw that, and I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. The Democrats are crippling themselves. Hey, let's cripple ourselves too. We'll have a crippling contest. The Democrats just broke their arm. Well, you know, we're going to one-up them. We're going to break our pelvis. that seems to be the Republican bottom line. Broken Prophet, crepes. I love crepe Suzette. I like crepes if they're only mildly sweet and you put fruit in them and top them with whipped cream. One of the few Swedish things that I'll actually still eat. Yeah. Whenever I get onto the topic of food, I'll have people that are weighing in on random recipes or their favorite foods, or I'll get people who tell me that my food opinions are absolutely stupid. Danily, I've been on a bologna streak. Bologna's all right. I used to like, when I was a kid, I used to like that olive loaf stuff. It's like bologna with olives in it. You know. Islands, Inland Surfer. Spam in the can on the counter. It's mystery meat. Ask Tulsi. She's Hawaiian. It's traditional there. Yeah, I guess today is the fateful day of spam trying. People demand it. I'll report in tomorrow on my experience. Copium poppies. The only time I've had spam that tasted good was at a friend's wedding years ago. They had a Hawaiian theme and they served a Hawaiian variant of sushi where they used spam instead of fish. Surprisingly good. Oh, John Hoyle. I am absolutely jealous. Making New England boiled dinner today. Good eating. Yeah, I can't wait till Easter for a reason. I think that's literally the day before I have to go to trial, though. So, yeah, whatever. Zinc Orby, how can you say you don't eat sugar? Do you know how much sugar is in ketchup? I don't put ketchup on everything. I joke about that. And I realize that there is a lot of sugar in it. But I use the natural ketchup, the one that doesn't have corn syrup. So that's an improvement. Look, there's nothing wrong with having sugar in your diet. It's a matter of how much, how it's applied, what form it takes, because there are different kinds of sources of sugar and so forth. Mr. Dapperton, hi, my man. I want to put you as a playable character in my game Skull Stompers. Also want you to promote it on your channel at some point when I get money. Absolutely, yeah, you have my permission to do that. That's fine. Just as long as you make me cool and piratical. I've definitely got to have the pirate outfit in your game. That's the only exception, you know. It's a contractual obligation. Yeah, I've never tried spam. It seems like I'm the only person in the United States who's never tried it. Everyone else, for the most part, they're like, oh, spam tastes like this, spam tastes like that. It's like, okay, you have an opinion. You've obviously tasted it. I'm like, I have no fucking clue. Copium poppies. I thought they hadn't charged you. Hopefully you can get it thrown out since they didn't give you a speedy trial, which is your constitutional right. Everything is going according to plan. I'm not worried in the least. I've already seen the discovery evidence. Evidence, if you can call it that. But I'm not going to remark particularly about the court case. I'm not worried. Mortadella over Bologna. Why does it apparently? Why is spam so beloved in Asia and its diaspora like Hawaii? I don't know. There must be a historical reason for it. JD, Tarl, the hard spurred cringe fit the shit you. Throwing over the Epstein files is nothing short of hilarious. You're 100% correct that if it was released, there would be a major economic collapse. Yeah. But I don't think that's the actual reason that they're not releasing it. My reasoning is that there are ongoing cases with regards to some of these people, ongoing investigations, legal cases, etc. So they can't release the list. It's impossible in the judiciary sense. And I have a feeling that some of these investigations were deliberately triggered by the prior administration to protect people. Imagine this. You're on a list. You fucked a 14-year-old. You're a criminal. You're in your 60s or something. But they begin a formal investigation. It's not public. The public doesn't know that it's going on, but it's there. Can your name therefore be released on this public list without prejudicing a jury? No. And so you have protected the person literally by creating an investigation. And the investigation is compartmentalized against the incoming administration as much as possible so that they can't get access to the documents. Easy. I think that's what happened. It's the ultimate conspiracy theory. Investigate someone to protect them from actually going to jail. Because you've opened an investigation, but you're not really investigating them. Because they're on your payroll, they're your friend, etc. That's what I think is happening here. It's a pile of bullshit. Unfortunately, Trump's going to have to dig through this horse shit in order to get anything accomplished at all. He's accomplished much in his first month in office. This is probably not going to be a Trump accomplishment. In the end, I don't expect him to be particularly successful at releasing unredacted material. You start the investigation, so you can't release the public files anyway. Then you bury the public files with a different bureau, overseen by managerial lower counterparts that make sure that it ends up, behind the wood desk or something like that, and it disappears. Oh yeah, and we scrub the servers too. There's no digital copies. We can't find them. They're not there. How sad and how surprising, by the way. Based Acid Fox saying something. That's disturbing that you're saying that, my dude. I'm hoping that you're trolling. Sith22, Styx is awesome. It's like B before it got run over with porn. Yeah, I'll say every edgy thing. We'll talk about lesbians. We'll talk about people cock-docking each other. We'll talk about people pausing each other. Yeah, anything goes, as long as it doesn't get me banned. Inland Surfer, spam's global reach is mostly due to World War II, a GI staple, MRE history. Yeah, I need to try spam. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it'll be delicious. I have no clue. I've never tried it before. I've tried all sorts of canned meats and things like that. Like those canned hams they're pretty good. I mean, they're not exactly delicatessen grade, but it's definitely edible. A little bit on the salty side. I'm assuming spam will be the same. Yep, I have to eat spam. Madohi, I also ate fugu or hugu sashimi in Japan and whale sashimi. I've had whale meat. Yeah, maybe that's the most strange thing I've eaten. I mean, by American standards. Both are delicious, but the whale was the best. Like the best tuna you ever eat, but better. Yeah. Whale is like, imagine that you combined tuna and pork, and it was nice and flaky, and it comes in a nice sauce that makes it very, very savory. It's sort of like the sauce that you get on eel sushi, actually. The Japanese are, the Italians and the Japanese are just perfect at food. It's incredible, actually. I think I've still got a can of the whale in there. I've still got some seal meat. Maybe the seal is, which one is stranger, seal or whale? Which one would be more exotic? Not strange, but exotic. I don't know. Copium poppies, spam and candy corn tacos. Next food challenge. You're going to have to pay me around $1,000 to eat candy corn again. Yeah, I've got whale, I've got seal, I've got bear, I've got all sorts of soups, most of which I can't even decipher. Seaweed, and I've got elk meat and stuff, all from Japan. I've got a friend named JD Spare in Japan. He teaches there, and he sent me several supply crates of cool shit, and he never disappoints. Oh my God. And he, by the way, fairly recently, he found the original soups that he had sent. Some of them were really, really great. There was a mushroom soup, there was a shrimp soup, there was the fugu, and what was the fourth one? I can't remember what the fourth one was. I don't know, but they were all absolutely delicious. And trust me, I ate them all. Well, actually, sans a couple of them that I think I still have, but they're probably expired by now. We'll see if they're still edible. But yeah, he sent me all sorts of crazy stuff from Japan. And I'm like, God damn, I've got to get my ass to Tokyo. Yeah, ultimate non-food deserts. New Orleans, New York, and Tokyo. You get to any of those, and you know, any other cosmopolitan place in Asia, probably. I'm imagining they have real good food in like Bangkok. Oh shit. Bangkok. Bangkok, man. New York has best food in Chinatown, says Based Acid Fox. Yeah, no, New York is, I mean, there's probably 10,000 restaurants just in Manhattan. So, yeah. You can probably, in a place like New York or Tokyo or you know, New Orleans or someplace, if you were to go to 3 restaurants a day, by the time that you got done going to all of them, several more would have opened up, probably. So, yeah. When I go back to New Orleans, I'm definitely going to Ralph's because that's a prerequisite. There's no way that I'm missing out on that. And hopefully they have that crayfish bisque. If they don't, yeah, just default to the turtle soup. It's perfectly fine. That'd be, it's good by me. It's still a 10 out of 10. It's just not an 11 out of 10. Still delicious, nice and creamy and just try it for yourself. You'll see what I mean. Got to do that. Got to go back to the aquarium and punch a stingray out. I know it's not what Steve Irwin would have wanted, but, you know, I'm going to take my vengeance on his behalf anyway. Oh, Dan, I ate iguana. I'm jealous. I would love to try iguana. Yeah, I want to try iguana. I want to try fresh fugu. That would be a good one. Apparently, somebody was mentioning you can eat jellyfish somehow. I mean, I'll try it. I thought that they were heavily poisonous for the most part. I guess maybe you slice the tentacles off or something, and then maybe fry their heads, or I don't know. Mr. Dapperton, I already got Trump and Elon as playable characters for the game. For you, I'd need audio lines from you. 35 audio quotes and 5 death lines. That works. We can do that. That's funny. Helmets. What's a Rickroll? Rickroll is when you lure someone into seeing a video of Rick Astley saying never going to give you up under the pretense of having something else that you're presenting to them. So you say, oh, look at this news article. But then you go to the tiny URL and it's like, never going to give you up, never going to let you down. That song, you know. That's a Rickroll. It has become very popular. Rick Astley, by the way, is aware of Rickrolling and finds it hilarious. He's a good sport. Chinese stores sell dried jellyfish? Okay, I've added something else to my bucket list. Yeah, I'm going to have to eat that. Jellyfish sandwich. Yeah, apparently I've got to try both iguana and jellyfish. I'd like to try armadillo, too. I'd like to eat rat meat, actually. See how that tastes. I'll eat fucking anything once. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I've had shark. Shark tastes basically like pork. There's really not a huge, it's like if pork was immersed in water for an extended period of time. That's basically what it tastes like pork mixed with a very, very vague aquatic flavor. I didn't particularly like shark when I ate it. I had a shark steak once at Hampton Beach. Yeah, it's all right. I'd like to try raccoon meat too. I need to get myself to Hillbillyville in the mountains with my people and get some coon and possum and shit like that. Sona, Sticks, why are you acting like the Epstein files would always be nothing when you were hyped up yesterday and saying nothing about it? Just admit you got it wrong and people would have far more respect. Well, you see, some days ago I predicted that it would be a nothing burger. When we got the imminent news that it was going to be released, I said, well, okay, maybe they're finally going to release the files. They did. It's just that they're massively redacted, which is what I had already predicted. So no, I was not wrong on that one. Aaron Nelson, you were in New Orleans. Did you not try Nutrient? I think you mean Nutria. Didn't see it anywhere. Although I'd like to try that too. I'll bash one over the head myself and just roast it off in the Cajun wilderness. That's what I'm talking about. Dude, I've dealt with near homelessness, severe poverty, scrounging butts off the asphalt, and using Vienna sausages as hot dogs. Nothing is going to turn my stomach. Other than candy corn. That's the one that defeated me. It was candy corn's the only one. My old nemesis. Copium poppies. I had shredded dried squid. Oh, I've had that. I've actually got some in the room. It's pretty good. They sell it at Chinese stores. It's like jerky. You're white and tastes like fish, nice and chewy. Quincy, one of our cats, is obsessed with the dried squid. He's eaten half of the bag, actually. He's eaten more of it than I have. One time, I gave him a little bit too much dried squid. He shit sideways in the cat box. So my mom was confronting me over it. She's like, what the hell happened, basically? Stop feeding him so much squid. There was an enormous streak of shit running all the way down the wall into the box because he had massive diarrhea from the squid that he had eaten. Because I didn't realize this at the time, but, you know, it had a laxative effect, I guess, on cats. And like I've eaten some of it, and Quincy eats more, but I have to limit him. He only gets one squiddy snack per day. That's the reason why. Yeah, he shit all over the wall. It was insane. I'm looking at him like, what the fuck? I don't understand. Basically, he must have gotten in the box and immediately had a jet of shit coming out of his ass. David Brian Ford. Have you ever read any Aleister Crowley? Yes, I have. I'm not a particular fan of his, though. You can eat stingray? Okay, another thing added to the goddamn bucket list. So I've got snake, stingray meat, real authentic, like, you know, actual fugu sashimi. Jesus H. Christ. Oh, I also want to eat durian, that fruit that you can't even export to many countries because it's so smelly. Comio, Tense Exchange, Vance v. Zelensky reported just now. Oh, Vance and Zelensky got into it? I'm Team Vance on that one. Fuck Zelensky. Jim Morrison, get the reduced salt spam. Japan food is not only the best, but also affordable. Go to an izakaya. Also try shabu shabu. McDonald's is good there too. Been 3 times recently for food and music. Yeah, I'm not going to McDonald's if I'm in Japan. Just to be clear, and I'm not going to touristy bullshit either. I might go to that cafe where the people cosplay and call you master and stuff like that because that'd be funny. Otherwise, I want to go to hole-in-the-wall places. I want working class food. The Japanese food is delicious. I mean, when even the cheapest ass food that you can get, like, you know, the dried soup bars and stuff like that, is at least a 7 out of 10 on the Richter scale, you know that the mainline food, whether it's working class or not, it must be pretty fucking delicious. Can't wait to get my ass to Tokyo. Can't wait to eat in New Orleans again either. I'm going to compare the two, by the way. I'm going to go to Tokyo after I go to New Orleans, of course, for legal purposes. And then I'm going to compare the two. The two ultimate food destinations, arguably, in the goddamn world. I'll go to New York, too. I'll do a 3-way comparison. Copium poppies. You can eat everything once. Yeah. I've cooked wild mushrooms before, actually. Sauteed them off, actually. And they were delicious. Sometimes we get a flush under the right weather conditions. There is an enormous patch of Boletus, actually, that lives in the woods out back here. And sometimes fairy ring mushrooms. Occasionally you get morels. Sometimes you get hen of the woods, chanterelles, stuff like that. All of the main edible mushrooms that are wild. And I've tried them before, and they were delicious, let me tell you. And don't worry, you don't have to worry. If you're with me going mushrooming, I can identify the species. I know which ones are going to kill you and which ones are going to sicken you and which ones are going to be goddamn tasty. It's not actually that difficult. Mycology is a fairly simple concept, but most people, they don't study anything about it. So they think the mushrooms are the ones they get in the store. Those are the only edible ones. Everything else will poison you. Well, yeah, some will poison you, but at the same time, maybe they get you high, you know? What's this mushroom? Nom, nom, nom. Oh, shit. I can see through my hand, man. There's dogs jumping through the walls, man. Holy shit. I need to watch some Cheech and Chong. Copium poppies. Cubensis mushrooms are delicious. I thought that the azaresins that I got, which was one of my worst highs, actually. I preferred LSD. I thought it tasted kind of like almonds, actually. Jarrell Mika, what's your take on SNAP and Medicaid being cut? They won't be cut, nor would I support them being cut. Now, we do have to provide some basic lattice for people who are under the weather, socioeconomically, to be able to actually have a hand up. We do have to provide that. I would much rather my money go towards, I'd rather fucking increase my taxes, double SNAP, and get rid of the foreign aid. All right, there we go. Stop sending money to Ukraine. Give it to the poor in this country. David Bryan Ford, Muffaletta is a really good tool. I don't know if I've had one. I don't even know what that is. What's a muffaletta? Let me look it up. Classic New Orleans sandwich. Yeah, I never had one when I was there. That looks slightly like a Cuban, only a different variety. Well, I guess I have another thing on my bucket list. Copium poppies. Cubensis just tastes like regular store-bought mushrooms. Spooky pooky. I love your comment, my man. Oh, God. I tell women I'm Chinese, so my dick being small isn't too weird. You have a home on this channel. Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Yeah, morels generally they grow after a fire. So like if there's been a brush fire or something, then you get morels in. They have very, very sporadic conditions that they can actually grow in. Boletus are fairly easy. Anywhere that you have a lot of pine trees or spruce trees and stuff like that, they can create a symbiosis and they'll grow in there. That one year, it was a really, really wet summer into autumn, and all the mushrooms were, you wouldn't believe how many goddamn mushrooms there were, millions of them. just in that one little patch of woods, literally possibly millions of them. There were thousands and thousands of Boletus on this hill that's out behind my home. And so what I'm hoping is that this year is a good mushrooming year, because I would really like to show you some of the mushrooms that I gather and then proceed to eat many of them. We'll see. It depends on the weather, though. Some years you get only a few. Some years you get a great number of them. It's kind of sporadic. Remember that the actual mushroom is below ground, though. The fruiting body that you're gathering is only the reproductive organ. You're effectively eating the mushroom's penis more than anything else. Penis and vagina, both at once. Very strange. We like to eat reproductive organs. What do you think a fruit is? It's a fertilized reproductive organ. It's basically an ovary that you're eating. You're eating the apple tree's vagina. Same with any fruiting body. Drennan, I thought morels thrive under ash trees. Mushroom videos, please. Oh, I'll definitely take many, many nature pictures when the weather is a little bit better. Right now, there's not a whole lot going on because there's snow on the ground and shit. The Dirty Straw. Trump is live and trashing Zelensky right now. Ha ha ha. I hope that they trash Zelensky. That would make me happy. I should probably watch that. Anyways, I'm going to go offline now. I enjoyed my time with all 3,000 of you, but I do need to do a quick news gathering, and apparently Trump is, going off on Zelensky. I probably should fucking see that. So I will be back on Monday with the next live stream. Don't worry, I'll make my videos tomorrow, but I don't go live on the weekends. That's about all. Peace out.